What makes Donald Trump so special?
Oh my goodness, his honesty, his bravery.
Donald Trump, you think is a very honest guy?
Oh, he's horrifically, wonderfully honest.
Horrifically honest.
Yes, and wonderfully honest.
So I just watched a post of a number of Arkansas farmers who are MAGA, who are very upset, scared, sad, disappointed, if you will, in their leader that they chose. Because they thought all the hateful shit was going to happen to other people, not to them. Because they're white farmers. Donald Trump doesn't care about you. None of you. Not one of you. But you keep licking his boots and getting everything you voted for.
Buckle up, America. The MAGA fireworks are exploding in their own backyard. Trump's tariff tantrums and deportation dreams have red states like Arkansas and Florida reeling, with farmers begging for bailouts and builders scrambling for workers they voted to ship out. These clips, fiery with regret from everyday folks, mostly women venting the chaos, expose the raw fallout. Economies teetering, jobs vanishing, and irony thicker than a tariff wall. They blame the system, but skip how their ballots built it. Let's slice through the mess, lightly roast MAGA's misfires, and hand out practical lifelines to salvage what's left.
The insane thing is that people who voted for Trump, farmers want bailouts, socialist bailouts. MAGAs feel very free to call ICE on South Koreans trying to build a Hyundai plant. People that they call ICE on won't pick fruit anymore. So the fruit fields are going to waste. Construction companies that voted for Trump, the owners voted for Trump, they don't have workers now, and they're surprised. And not only surprised, they want sympathy, and they want your rage bait views so they can monetize off of it. This is dystopia. And not to mention the alligator Alcatrazes and the detention centers and the horribleness, concentration camps.
Hey y'all, so apparently MAGA farmers across the nation are coming out saying that the government needs to help them now because they're about to lose their farms. And I agree, we should be helping out the farmers when times get rough. But if you agree with that statement too, that's called socialism, kids. Because in socialism, the government helps you out. But in capitalistic societies, if you're not doing well, good luck with being broke. And that's the crux of it. So maybe we should really worry about voting for people who have held real jobs and lived real lives instead of voting for people who don't care about you. About that.
So let me get this straight. Donald Trump says, hey, Canada, y'all need to clean up your border. You need to clean up your DR-UGS issue that's happening and overflowing into our country. And Canada says, hold my beer. We're going to kind of do some of those things, but what we're actually going to do is we're just going to counter tariff you. And on top of counter tariffing you, we're going to create all of this like division and fear and uncertainty within our own population, amongst premiers. And we're just going to dollar for dollar counter tariff you. Now, when we dollar for dollar counter tariff you, that's going to really, really hurt our economy. That's already near the brink of collapse, by the way. And then to make up for that damage that those counter tariffs are going to do on our economy, we're then going to subsidize businesses who will be losing money. So on top of hurting our economy with these counter tariffs, they're also going to hurt our economy even more for generations to come by borrowing money to subsidize businesses that will be affected by the counter tariffs Canada wants to impose. Why are we counter tariffing at all? What? Why don't we put that money into fixing the problems that Trump wants us to fix?
Spot on. Canada's counter tariffs are a boomerang from Trump's trade war, slamming our economy harder than expected. MAGA voters thought tariffs would win big, but now they're shocked as costs soar and jobs wobble. For businesses hit, pivot to local suppliers or apply for relief funds like the Regional Tariff Response Initiative. I agree. Fix borders smartly. Vote for balanced trade policies that don't self-sabotage our recovery.
There's a Trumper in Tampa who owns a construction company called Honest Hammer, and he is all upset because his workforce is being deported. Now, he makes the claim, like a lot of Trumpers who actually get affected by this make, and that is, that's not what I voted for. This is not what I voted for. I voted to get out the criminals. No, this is exactly what you voted for, and now you're feeling regrets because you are personally being affected. You did not care who got wrapped up in a mass deportation. That's exactly what they told you at the RNC. Mass deportation. That's exactly what Donald Trump said over and over again, was deport these people. He lumped them all together. There was never a bucket of criminals and everyone else. It was always an everyone else is a criminal. That's what it was, to brand every immigrant, legal or illegal, as a criminal. He did not care how hardworking these people were or how much they contributed to society, and neither did you, Honest Hammer. All you cared about was that these people got deported, and as long as you and your staff were safe, because you thought maybe you could wield some influence as a white man, that you would be safe, well, guess what? You're not. And you are going to suffer the consequences of that. That's an FAFO, my friend. And it always takes until you get affected for you to understand the ramifications of your vote. So don't tell us that that's not what you voted for. That's exactly what you voted for. You just didn't think the consequences were going to come for you. So fuck around and find out.
Brutal wake up for Honest Hammer. Your deportation cheers cleared your crew, shocking even you. MAGA thought just criminals, but Trump lumped everyone, leaving construction in chaos. Hire locals via trade schools or offer visas for vetted workers. I back the reality check. Vote for targeted enforcement, not blanket raids that tank industries.
I don't understand it either. It's not what I voted for. I voted for the criminals to be removed, 100%.
So the gentleman in that video is from Florida, and he's a general contractor, and he voted for President Taco D in the 2024 election, and he's actually quite concerned and worried about his undocumented workers who are actually getting deported. And in his video, he's actually making a direct plea to President Taco D, and he actually has a solution.
Get them legal status. Somehow, under a work visa, background check them.
And as you just saw in that clip, he said that he wants President Taco D to run comprehensive background checks, as well as grant these folks visas. Now, for me, I actually voted blue for quite a while. I'm a hardcore Democrat, and I vote because I agree with a lot of their policies, as well as the fact that I do believe a lot of those policies would actually benefit a lot of other people. And I've noticed that the other side tends to vote for a lot of policies that will only benefit themselves, but then they start to freak out when things don't go their way and start to affect them personally. And I actually scrolled through that video to go through the comment section, and the comment section is basically just torching this guy. And then I noticed that he actually replied to a few of those comments with this. And he responded with this comment to a lot of people who are saying that he's only making this type of video because it's affecting him personally now. Now, for me personally, we all saw that President Taco D ran on mass deportations, and he's actually following through on it. So I genuinely don't know why people on your side of the aisle are freaking out, because it's what you voted for. The answers were clearly in front of you. It was an open book test. It was stated in Project 2025, and many of us on this side of the aisle were actually trying to warn you and tell you guys, but you know, we kept getting called names, TDS, etc., etc. And if you were paying attention, former President Biden as well as VP Harris both ran on the platform for a pathway to citizenship for a lot of the undocumented folks that are in this country, the ones that actually do a lot of hard work. So if you've gotten to the end of this video, feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you think about this situation. And my name is Philip, and if you do like what I post, please consider giving me a like, share, follow, and repost, as it really does help my page out. Thank you.
Open book, closed eyes. You voted knowing the deportation script, now cry foul. MAGA's denial of Project 2025 realities is hitting home hard. Network with trade groups for legal hires, advocate reform. I agree, warnings were clear. Vote for policies that build, not break, your workforce.
See, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care. Do that.
Donald Trump just declared war on fucking Chicago. Take a look. There it is. The sitting fucking U.S. president just said Chicago's about to find out why they call it the Department of War. If you're in Chicago, we are protesting at Ida B. Wells and Michigan Avenue at 5 p.m. Until then, I'm going to drink an espresso martini And fuck this fucking dictator. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck ICE. We ride at dawn, baby.
Chipocalypse now. Trump's war threats on Chicago are unhinged, sparking justified outrage. MAGA's escalation shocks even allies. Join community watches, support legal aid. I agree, resist, vote against authoritarian overreach to protect cities.
It is Saturday, September 6th, about 1:15 p.m. West Coast time. So I've seen a lot of TikToks this morning about farmers in Arkansas who voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump and whose tariff policies have destroyed the market for Arkansas soybeans and other crops. And now Arkansas farmers are begging Donald Trump for taxpayer dollars to help them save their farms. Arkansas farmers voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump and these policies. I'm sure these are also the same guys who probably made TikToks bitching and moaning when Joe Biden was offering people student loan forgiveness. But rather than offer my own opinions on that, I found an opinion piece written by a guy named Steve Foster in the Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette, a local guy who is familiar with these farmers and circumstances. His opinion piece is titled "No Sympathy, Farmers Voted for Their Own Demise." Reading from his article. According to some news reports, Arkansas farmers are in distress. Many have filed bankruptcy and are genuinely wondering what the next year will bring. Will they still have farms? Will they have enough currency to save their farms? I'm sure the questions are on the minds of my fellow Arkansans, yet that elephant in the room was voted for. The days farmers are having now, worrying about crops in the field and who may be eating the cats or eating the dogs, elicit no empathy for me.
Arkansas farmers pleading after tariffs tanked their exports. FAFO in full swing. MAGA ignored warnings, now bankruptcies soar. Diversify to local sales, seek co-op loans. I support the no sympathy stance. Vote for trade that doesn't self-destruct.
While red-leaning farmers were pleased to vote for mass deportations, they failed to realize they voted for their own workforce to leave them high and dry. Voters for the current administration loved the idea of other Americans being denied food assistance. Where do our Arkansas farmers think their customers are? The food used for food assistance comes from American farmers. Why would a farmer hate his or her customers? Where do you think that food comes from if not your farms? You voted for your lives now. How much does a bankruptcy attorney charge per hour because of your vote? My sympathy has limits, and I'm past caring about farmers who have voted against their own business or their own best interests. That USAID you were told to hate because of the billions spent. Where do you farmers think the money comes from to make your farming viable? Government spending. A market for your harvests? Gone. America buying food from American farmers to feed people around the world. And you farmers hate that concept. American farmers said no, that's wasteful. Cutting your own throats while I watch? Have at it. The bankers you borrowed money from are pleased to hire another auctioneer to run the prices on your household goods.
Foster nails it. No pity for farmers who voted to gut their own markets. MAGA's hypocrisy on handouts shocks as core eye their land. Lease to locals? Lobby for fair trade? I agree. Reap what you sow. Vote for subsidies that actually help.
Everything must go because the bank wants its money back. Sympathy from me? Not going to happen. Since you farmers voted for a trade war, China, which was buying 25% of its soybeans from Arkansas, is now buying them from Brazil. Another market for your harvests gone and not coming back. Trade wars have casualties, and you farmers are bleeding. You think I should have sympathy for your choices? No. I'm sure corporations will swoop in and buy your land from the bank that now owns that land. I'm sure those corporations will need labor to run the farms that you once owned. I'm hopeful that you will be hired by these corporations to work the land that you once owned. Those corporations are notorious for paying chump wages while the CEO lives in a gated community laughing at all of us lowly chumps and rubes. Sympathy from me? No, not going to happen. The older generation of farmers can have their later generations appear at nursing homes to take possession of the honored elders. Medicare will no longer pay for Gramps and Granny to stay in their facilities. Do you work for free? Nursing homes won't work for free. Besides, now that you don't have a farm to run, you'll have plenty of time to caregive for your parents and grandparents. Sympathy from me? No. Why should I care about you?
Hating aid that fed your sails? Now core scoop your farms. Poetic justice. MAGA's short-sighted votes left them vulnerable. Join farmer unions. Push antitrust laws. I back Foster. Vote against policies handing land to billionaires.
I'll be paying $36 for 2 tomatoes from Mexico. You farmers are long gone because you voted against your own best interests. And don't expect a bailout like you had last time you voted against your own best interests. That would be socialism. And we know you don't want that. Don't worry about the corporations now farming your land will scoop up all that socialism they can get their rich hands on. Sympathy from me? No. For over 120 years, the American farmer has exported products. The export market is what made every American farm a wonder of the world. No longer. Farmers have voted for a trade war that is driving them into bankruptcy, and I don't have sympathy for you. A good question to me from Arkansas farmers would be, how are you going to eat? I hear the starving in North Korea eat grass. I'm not above eating grass as long as one-time farmers are eating the same grass that I am. The difference is I didn't vote for billionaires to have more money. I didn't vote for billionaires to have another yacht or yachts, plural. I didn't vote for that, and I'll be suffering along with you. You farmers voted against your own best interests. Pass the grass. I liked mine chopped. I have no sympathy for farmers. You voted for what you've been given. As you tell the less fortunate, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps and pass the leafy green grass. I will be hungry thanks to the decisions you have made. Sympathy? No. And the author, Steve Foster, is a Navy veteran who lives in Greenland, Arkansas.
China ditching you for Brazil, tariffs bitter fruit, MAGA's war on trade shocked their base, grow niche organics, export to new markets. I agree, no free rides, vote for global deals that sustain farms.
Arkansas farmers voted on purpose for all kinds of horrible things to happen directly to other people in this country, with Donald Trump using the power of the executive branch, the power of federal law enforcement, the power of the United States military. Arkansas farmers voted for Donald Trump to use those things against other Americans. And they knew he was going to start a trade war before they voted for him. He's been talking about tariffs for 40 years. He did this the last time he was in office, just not as bad. And farmers during his first term got bailouts of more than $26 billion. And now they've got their hands out again. They voted for him the first time and got their socialism. They voted for him a second time and they want their socialism again.
Voting for pain on others, now yours? Cycle of hypocrisy. MAGA's selective memory on bailouts is glaring. Cut costs via co-ops, diversify revenue. I support letting consequences teach. Vote for consistent support.
Let them go bankrupt. This is what you voted for. I agree with all of the sentiments in this op-ed piece. This is what you voted for. So deal with the consequences. File bankruptcy, lose your farm to a corporation or a company owned in part by Vice President JD Vance that buys and sells farm acreage. And then you can apply for a job at the corporation that owns your farm to work on the land that you once owned. You guys got what you voted for, man. Suck it up. I hope you don't get a single dime in bailout money.
Losing to Vance's core? Ultimate irony for MAGA farmers. Voted for this land grab. Negotiate leases. Form alliances. I agree, suck it up. Vote against elite takeovers next time.